Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to Listen Up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
Phil and Ryan, listen up. A beautiful Sunday morning, Ryan. Thank you. And thank you for everybody for joining us for the last check-in as we found out late last night that UConn will be facing USC in the Elite Eight, just like we thought, right, Ryan? You're drawing all this up. It's not me, it's all you. USC, that is. And Ryan, last night they were led by Kennedy Smith. USC, that is, to reach the Elite Eight. But the big headline is obviously without Juju. And, obviously, I mentioned over and over, you and I went up there in December to watch USC and UConn play, not at Gamble, but at the other arena, if you can help me out with what that was called. But you know where I mean. Obviously, Ryan, the bigger headline is what is this team going to look like without Juju the rest of the way? And obviously predictions are like last. I'm sure you and I have the same prediction. The hype is not there like it should be.
Yeah, you guys will have to excuse us this morning. I'm sure you can tell we we both just got up after
Yeah.
a late night last night and a quick turnaround. So we're
Yeah.
trying our best this morning. Yeah, the XL Center.
XL
Was
Center.
yeah, I mean USC squeaked one out last night. I kind of figured it was going to be close against Kansas State. Kansas State's a pretty good team, but USC was able to prevail over them last night, despite obviously being out without Juju Watkins now. So, I think UConn obviously has a better chance to win now without Juju Watkins. But, USC, like I said before, this is still a talented team. You mentioned Kennedy Smith leading them last night. It's still a team with Avery Howe, the freshman who stepped up last night, Rhea Marshall, and obviously the two big names that they got in the transfer portal from last season, Talia Von Olaholfen and Kiki Irafin. So, these players can still step up in these big moments. They're obviously have a little bit of chip on their shoulder and they're trying to win for Juju now. So I think this is still going to be a tightly contested game. This is a team obviously with Juju, but they have beaten UCLA two times this season. Obviously fell to them in the Big Ten championship game, but USC is still a great team. But I think if Paige Bueckers still is able to keep this momentum going and put up these kind of performances that we've seen the past two games, 34 points and then a 40-point career high performance yesterday, it's going to be hard for anybody to beat UConn and the type of defense that UConn has been playing. I think it's going to be hard for USC to especially get shots up from the outside. I think if USC wants to win this game, I think Irafin's going to have to control the inside of the paint, and they're going to have to make their 3-point shots, I think, at a high margin if they want to have a chance to beat this UConn Husky team.
And see what I mean? It's like a chess match going back and forth, and now we won't have that because you just have to believe without that Juju injury, unfortunately. But you just have to believe Page versus Juju, it would have been that. It would have been anything you can do, I can do better. And they would have been swapping points back and forth, going up and down the court, Ryan. So again, we're going to miss that matchup a lot, a lot. But I'm sure some UConn fans are not, even though they feel bad for Juju. It's been so long. You mentioned the long drought of the national title. They'll take it any way they can.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's definitely going to be easier now without Juju, but this is a spot for the Final Four now. I mean, we've been talking about this matchup ever since the bracket started, but obviously USC without one player. But yeah, I mean, this is a spot for the Final Four now, so it's all in. Both teams giving whatever they can. So this is a huge matchup, obviously, to get to Tampa and compete for a Final Four spot. And UCLA is likely the opponent up next. So, that's going to be a tough game for whoever is able to win this one. But yeah, I mean, it's all hands in now for both teams. Whatever you got to make it to the Final Four.
Ryan, I have to admit to you, obviously you just mentioned we just woke up on this March the 30th. Last night, I have to ask you, were you dreaming any? I was dreaming about buckets. Just basketballs going into buckets.
No, no, unfortunately, I wasn't dreaming any last
Wasn't
night.
dreaming
No.
that. All right. Let's go over to Jason. That takes us over to comment time. Jason said Paige, and then he left a heart, right? Paige and just a red heart. KK had one of the biggest baskets of the game. That layup was huge. Peace.
Yeah, and she also had a steal right as she came into the game. Like always, we always talk about her defensive intensity. She came in and ripped the ball right out of the hands of one of the opposing players. So, that's just the kind of plays that she makes every time she comes into the game, and all the players, her teammates around her, really feed in on that energy and intensity, and it gets everybody back into the game, and that's what UConn needed, especially in that first quarter yesterday.
Marcia Clark said Paige was phenomenal. Everyone else did what they needed to help the team too. Shade Chen, Jana, KK. KK always gives us the Nika Mule energy. I love it. Ice, Strong, and Fudd. Strong was great on beers, regardless of how people think about how Strong played. She made a difference. AZ as well. AZ played great defense and helped space the floor. Chen, Shade, and KK were definitely the unsung heroes. They made so many hustle plays. And that takes me back, Ryan, to what's your thoughts again, I don't want to think like this, but I told you this a year or two ago. This is dating back a year or two. What if, you know, what if you didn't have that performance from Paige last night? What was it? Career high in points? What if you didn't have that? Obviously, 3 games left. 3 games is like a mile in March Madness. What if you don't get a performance like that? Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been tough because, we've seen it in previous years where the team is kind of struggling to make any type of shot, and Paige just kind of has to take it into her own hands, create her own shots, and really just dominate the whole second half like she did yesterday. But that's a really good point. Sarah Strong was really competing down there in the paint with Reagan Beers, and I think she did a pretty solid job at containing Beers as much as she can, as much as she could. That was a really, really tough matchup, and I think she did pretty well down there defending her own down there in the paint. And yeah, Ashlyn had a really hard fall. I believe it was towards the end of the fourth quarter, crashing in for a rebound, kind of banging off of Reagan Beers and hitting the floor really hard. I was glad she was able to get up from that one. But yeah, again, Ashlyn made a couple big threes off the bench, and again, her defensive intensity is almost as good as KK's at times. The way she's just able to get into the lanes and disrupt everybody on the opposing team. So another great performance from Ash off the bench.
It's wild, right? Every time I get ready to come on this podcast, tell you, Ryan, we just witnessed something last night that we probably won't ever see for a long time while we're covering this team. And then it happens a couple days later. It's like it just leaves your jaw like on the floor. Ryan, let's go over to one more. Tia Michelle, I've never been so hyped to see you guys in my life. Paige went nuclear. Oh, Tia Michelle, we haven't been so hyped ever before to see you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was something special to watch yesterday. I mean, that's just a generational type of performance from Paige. I mean, every shot that she threw up went in, it seemed like. So it was really, really fun to watch when she gets into one of those types of modes. We haven't really seen it much during the regular season this year, but these past two performances have been really fun to watch. So, like I said, I hope that she can really keep it up for the final 3 games, hopefully in March that we have.
All right, here we go. Once again, Ryan, Connecticut Huskies, USC Trojans, tomorrow, 9 o'clock. I will see you very late tomorrow night for another game recap. Hopefully, another happy one as we are near the finish line. Spokane Arena. Who wins this one? Obviously, the big headline Paige coming off that career performance, and USC without Juju.
Yeah, I mean, like I said for the last check-in, last game, I think UConn has all this momentum. They just keep doing what they've been doing, crashing the rebounds, playing great defense, hitting their threes at a pretty high mark. So I got UConn again winning this one. I think they get their revenge from their loss back in December at the XL Center. I'm gonna go UConn 82, USC 70.
82 to 70. Wow. Okay, I like it. Ryan, I have to admit to you and everybody else, this is possibly where I had stuff ending. And people are like, whoa, did he just say that? Yeah, I said it. But my, how the script changes with just one player out, right? Ryan, that flips it all. I'm going UConn in this one. UConn reaches the Final Four. Connecticut Huskies win tomorrow night. USC eliminated. Ryan, I'll go final score. UConn 85, USC 72. All right, Ryan. I think USC hangs with this team, even without Juju. But again, it's just too much to handle. And obviously, I can't wait to see. We won't get into predictions that deep, but I can't wait to see how Paige follows up that performance. Because you always talk about follow-ups, right? I
Yeah.
can't wait. We all know that you can't wait. Ryan, have a fantastic Sunday and enjoy that Sweet 16 victory. As you and I walk around with our heads up today, right? And everybody else walk around feeling elite. Phil and Rye on Listen Up.